All right, guys. What? I'm going to talk about a number, 600%. Hopefully I can put this on your radar. I saw it on Twitter, so you know it's true. In fact, it was from a congressman. 600%. What the fuck is 600%? Well, it's really important. You know, here we are in election season, and everybody's talking about who they like and who they love. And most of election season is just theater. It's just really theater so that these networks can sell advertising revenue. I mean, I love Ted Turner. You know, I think he was a wonderful guy. I think he did a lot. But one thing that he did is he created 24-hour news. So the only way to have 24-hour news, to have that content, is you have to have a lot of drama and you have to basically be a soap opera. So what CNN and Fox News and Faux News and MSNBC, all those, most of that, there's about 20% real news, and then 80% is just theater, and it's not even journalism. It's basically propaganda. But I saw something on Twitter that's really important, and it affects everybody. It's the number 600%. And it's from Ben Sasse. I think he's a senator or he's a congressman, Ben Sasse. I'll go ahead and retweet him on my Fibonojji. Just go to my Twitter, go to Fibonojji, or tweet me at Fibonojji. What Ben is saying, and what, again, I think he's a congressman. I'm not sure where he's out of, but he said that there has been a 600% increase in the number of jobs that require a governmental license. Okay, 600%. So think of that to get a job, now there's a 600% increase in the amount of jobs that require a governmental license. So therefore, there's 600% more people that have to pay for licensure. They have to qualify for that licensure. And it's in the qualification that I think we are experiencing kind of, I don't want to go all sinister and say like really evil, but for example, like, let me just use a real generic example, and then I'll talk about something really more serious, and speak about how 600% increase in governmental license affects minorities. You know, I love photography. I'll just use photography as an example. You know, right now I can get out there and I could take any picture I want. Nobody requires me to have a license. I can, you know, really, it's a meritocracy. If people like my photography, they can pay me. If they don't, so I have to get better and blah, blah, blah. But there's no governmental license. I don't have to have a certain credit score. There's nothing like that. However, let's say that once somebody's elected, and I'm a libertarian, so I'm kind of an equal opportunity hater. I'm one of those guys that supported Ben Carson, but I'm a libertarian. Let's say that one day the president that be, or the congressman, the senator, whoever, decides that to be a photographer, you have to have a governmental license. Well, most people would say it's against the First Amendment, but let's just pretend that to be a photographer, you had to have a governmental license. Well, once you have to have a license, now the government has free reign to decide what requirements get that license. So for example, let's just in this example say that the government says, if you want to have a photography license, you have to have a 750 credit score. Well, what's going to happen to all the photographers? Like maybe 80% of those people will go away because 80% of people don't have a 750. They might only have a 680 or 620. Let's say that another requirement says, let's just say with I don't know, like, you know, I came from the mortgage world, you know, and I ran a mortgage company for 10 years. And of course you have to have a license, but now with Dodd-Frank, the number of, just to be in the mortgage business, the amount of stuff that you have to qualify to get a license is enormous. So what's my point is, number one is, I saw on Twitter that to get a job now, there's been a 600% increase in the number of jobs that now require a license. Okay. How that affects minorities is, for example, once jobs require a license, it hurts minorities and poor people the most, because they're the people that are the least likely to qualify for those licenses. And if you start thinking about federally protected statuses, like again, race and gender and sex, race, gender, disability. If you start thinking about federally protected status, like most people understand that race is a federally protected status. It's probably one of the most popular federally protected status around. So once there's been a 600% increase in the number of jobs that require a governmental license, the next question should be, who's going to be negatively affected the most? And it's always going to be minorities and poor people. So I saw on Twitter, I'm going to retweet it. Go ahead and look at that. And, very rarely do you see a senator and congressman actually really do something that's going to move people forward. But I wanted to kind of give a little bit of shout out to this Ben Sasse guy. He's like, dude, this is very troubling. It's a 600% increase to get a job. So when we start thinking about the economy, we start thinking about all the things that goes with fixing the economy. We have to just look at the obvious. It's like the more hurdles we put in somebody's way to get a license, the more unemployment we're going to have. For example, in Austin, Texas, Uber, Uber is a great example of a very, very good destructive technology that just allowed people to say, hey, listen, I can get this app and I can turn my car into a profit-generating machine. Now you have to get a license. They require all these things. So we have to really, whenever people talk about fixing the economy and they give these platitudes and these unicorns in the sky, remember the number 600%. That it's 600% harder to get a job because there's been a 600% increase in the number of jobs that require a license. Let me give you a final example. Like everybody's been to the dentist. I know I have. What if tomorrow one of the requirements to keep a dental license is you had to have a $400,000 net worth, like cash money in the bank? Well, how many dentists are going to be in business? Like maybe 10%, 5%? I mean, how many dentists have $300,000 to $400,000 net worth? Now, that may sound like a ridiculous example, but I ran a mortgage company for 10 years, and one day I got an email that said, hey, dude, you have to have $200,000 to $300,000 net worth to have your license. To have a license, you have to be $200,000 to $300,000 net worth, just like cash money. Well, naturally, I didn't have that. So what happened to my mortgage company after 10 years? I had to shut it down. Why? Because I wasn't good? No. Because there was a violation? No. Because there was fraud? Absolutely not. Why? I lost my business because of licensure. And when we start really looking at the unemployment and we look at the economy, we can't ignore the number 600%. There's a quote. Let me kind of close out here with my quote. There's a quote that I read somewhere that says, evil is going to persist as long as good men do and say nothing. So as long as good men say nothing and do nothing, evil's always going to win. So one thing I want to do in this YouTube channel is I want to highlight, man, dude, there's a lot of beautiful things out there. I'm going to take tons of pictures. I love hiking. I love all kinds of things about this world. It's not hard to look at my Fibonojji Twitter and see the things that I enjoy, like comedy and photography and nature and people. But I also want to highlight, man, we really got to pay attention to the economy. And 600% is a critical number. It's troubling. It's 600% harder to get a job. And therefore, we can't fix the economy until we stop this fucking regulations. And we really have to start looking at Dodd-Frank, as well as some other regulations. All right, that's it for me. Going to go fix the world, go for a hike, do something good for somebody today. You guys be good. Email me, Americana417@gmail.com, or tweet me at Fibonojji. Be good.